Marco gained hurricane strength early Saturday afternoon. It is expected to make landfall tomorrow. Coastal Louisiana is under a hurricane warning, and the state of Mississippi has declared a state of emergency. Governor Tate Reeves said, quote, "We're in unprecedented times." Right behind it, Tropical Storm Laura brought heavy rains and widespread power outages to Puerto Rico. It then battered the Dominican Republic, Haiti, killing 7 people. Laura is projected to reach the U.S. mainland on Wednesday. That, too, has the potential to reach hurricane strength. CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist Jeff Berardelli joins me now. Hey there, Jeff. Let's start with
Lana,
Marco.
how you doing?
It was upgraded to I'm doing okay today, but Marco seems to be gaining some strength, which is bad news. Upgraded to a hurricane Sunday afternoon. What's the latest forecast that you can tell us on Marco?
Yeah, so big blow up of storms right near its core, and so it now is no longer a tropical storm. As you said, it is a hurricane. There's Marco, located to the south of New Orleans, and we think it's going to make landfall tomorrow in southeast Louisiana. So you need to prepare, use today, the rest of today, to prepare for the storm as it heads your way. Now, the good news is we had a lot of purples showing up in the satellite. Those have disappeared, meaning maybe its intensification is done for now. We don't expect it to be too much stronger, and part of the reason is you can see those streaks of clouds right there. That's wind shear, jet stream kind of in the upper atmosphere out of the southwest. So that should weaken the system or just kind of keep it at bay and not allow it to strengthen too much more before it makes landfall. So there's Marco, and there is Laura, which is located near Haiti. So we're going to concentrate on Marco. Landfall should be tomorrow afternoon, give or take, in southeast Louisiana. It's going to start to curve this way, which means that it'll probably slow down a little bit, and it'll also prolong the amount of time that it spends in that area, so rainfall totals will go up as a consequence of that. But rainfall is not the biggest issue. The biggest issue, wind gusts, power outages, and storm surge. So, hurricane warning, everywhere you see the white. Tropical storm warning also in effect, and then there's a storm surge warning for the coastline. Notice how, the storm's going to come in on this angle right here. Notice how the coast of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama form kind of a right angle. So as the storm comes in over here, its counterclockwise flow pushes the water in and allows that to kind of build up. And so we're expecting some pretty meaningful storm surge, maybe as much as 3 to 6 feet, some wind gusts up to 90 miles an hour with that. So there's going to be some power outages, and anybody asked to evacuate, I'd consider it. It probably would be a good idea to do so.
All right. Well, Marco also seems to have a tailgater, Tropical Storm Laura. What are the models saying about that storm fresh on its heels? Yeah,
so Laura has the potential to become a major hurricane. I mean, everybody on the western, especially the western side of the Gulf of Mexico, needs to pay extraordinarily close attention to this. This really could be a monster storm. So let's talk about what's happening right now. There's Laura. It's located right near Haiti, so it's a little bit disorganized, disheveled, discombobulated. However, there are a lot of thunderstorms with this, and it's still trying to kind of find itself and find its low-level center. As it moves back over the water, we'll have to see how much of Cuba it interacts with, because that will tell us whether or not it becomes a hurricane quickly or it takes a little bit longer. But I think either way, it's going to become a hurricane once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. So notice it's going to be right near Cuba over the next 24 to 48 hours or so. Here we are on Monday. Now, if this is just a little further south over the really warm water, well, it becomes a hurricane quicker. But once it gets into the Gulf, look at all that warm water. Water temperatures 85 to 90 degrees. They are above normal. So we expect it to become a Cat 1 sometime during the day on Tuesday, and that'll give it another 36 hours to strengthen. It probably will become a hurricane even before that, I think, because conditions are favorable for development. Right now, the National Hurricane Center has landfall Wednesday night and Thursday morning right around Beaumont, Port Arthur. But there's Houston in the cone, very close. And there's New Orleans. So New Orleans is out of the cone here. But, around St. Charles, Beaumont, Houston, anywhere in this particular area is where we have to watch for the possibility of landfall. They have it as a Cat 2, but I will tell you, looking at the latest guidance, a lot of our computer models have it probably getting to Cat 3 or potentially higher status. So it's going to be a monster storm. It could be, again, western Louisiana. It could even be Houston, Beaumont, Port Arthur. That whole area needs to watch closely. Anywhere you see yellow or orange on this map, those are above normal water temperatures. Where you see the blue, those are below normal water temperatures. You can barely find any blue. There's no blue basically across the Atlantic Ocean right now. So it goes to show you just how favorable it is in the Gulf of Mexico with this extra energy. In addition, there's some strong wind shear around Laura right now in the blue and green shading. But notice what happens. Marco is going to be hit by some of that wind shear. That's why we think it may weaken a little bit, or at least not strengthen much. But there's no wind shear ahead of Laura. So not only does it have really warm water temperatures, it also has almost zero wind shear. So, you know, the 2 is an optimistic scenario. I think it's likely to be probably even stronger than that when it makes landfall. So just to kind of sum up on the latest on these hurricanes, Marco makes landfall tomorrow as a borderline hurricane. Wind gusts at least to 75, probably close to 90 miles an hour at times. Storm surge 3 to probably up to maybe 6 feet in some pockets. Rainfall at least 3 to 6 inches. And then Laura could become a major hurricane and then make landfall late Wednesday into early Thursday along the Texas or Louisiana coastline.
Jeff, ever since yesterday when you mentioned the word supercane, it has been bouncing around in my head. Just to make sure, we still think that that's not going to be a thing, right?
It can't be a thing. It's physically impossible, and that's because both of the systems have rising air in their centers and then sinking air on their outskirts. So whichever the stronger storm is, it tends to suppress the convection or the thunderstorms from the other storm and weakens the other storm. So that's good news. We can't see a supercane. It was a movie several years ago, right? Day After Tomorrow that produced that storm. You know, it's interesting because Sandy did merge with a storm, but it was only one tropical storm and then one extra tropical system. That can happen. But 2 tropical storms cannot do that. So when one gets closer to the other, the bigger one usually kind of suppresses or has sinking air on the other one and kind of weakens it. So the good news is, you know, these are 2 systems, but they're not going to form into one supercane.
All right. Some good news, a lot of cautious news, at least. Jeff Berardelli, thank you.
You're welcome.